Hello and welcome. You're watching No Spin. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Well, the Enforcement Directorate summoned Rahul Gandhi once again for questioning. Tomorrow he will be summoned for the third day in a row. He's still at the ED offices in New Delhi, where he's been questioned now for nearly 10 hours, just like yesterday. Enforcement Directorate sources claiming that he had asked for the questioning to finish tonight itself, no matter how late it gets. However, they didn't agree and have asked him to return today. These are pictures today of Congress leaders protesting in various cities, including in Delhi, where most of them were detained and manhandled by police and kept at police stations, not allowed to assemble anywhere near the ED office. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, senior lawyer, senior Congress leader, member of parliament, now joining us for more on that story. Abhishek Singhvi, 3 days in a row, is that a bit of a surprise even to you?
It is not a surprise given the mindset of this government, but it's disgusting. It's absolutely reprehensible and indefensible. Since your program is not just tutu meme and shouting, give me just 2 or 3 minutes to explain the legal and the political aspect. First and foremost, assume nobody is grudging you the right to question me. Nobody is saying you can't question me. The question is, what questions can you possibly ask which you could not have asked in 20 hours as we speak, Nidhi? Today it is 20 hours. Possibly tomorrow it will be another 10 hours, it will be 30 hours. What is the question which you can possibly ask except to keep him for harassment? Question number 1. Were you associated with Young India? Answer is clearly yes. Question 2. What was the transaction? The transaction was, Nidhi, this is important for your viewers to know. There is no money. There is no money or transfer of assets. I don't understand how there is money laundering. A company called AJL owns and owned the assets of National Health for the last 100 years or whatever, 80 years, all across India. The same company continues to own the assets. That company ran up debts because obviously such newspapers are not commercial successes. They had to pay gratuity, wages, salaries, etc., etc. Over a period of 20-30 years, the Congress kept giving them loans in driblets and pieces. That amounted to some 70 odd crores. That 70 crores was written off and transferred to a company called Young India. Now, this is important, Nidhi. What is this company? It's a special provision in the Companies Act, 25 in the old, 8 in the new, which says that not for profit, you can't touch the corpus, you can't pay dividend, you can't give perks, you can't have houses and cars. It's a complete shell company created for the purpose of charitable activity. That company becomes the holding company of AJL. Now, it is elementary for a first year kindergarten law school student to know that if I hold you as a company, what you hold in turn as the various assets of National Health don't get transferred to me. I am the shareholder in your company. But it doesn't mean that there is any transfer of assets to a company called the Young India. And if it was
what
also,
you're saying is that you're claiming this is a non-existent case. This is pure political harassment.
So this is one part. Let's leave the legalists now. Let's leave the legalists. I understand that you're not the legalists. On this, from 2014 to 22, that is how much, Nidhi? 8 years. What did you do? Nothing. Nothing. After 8 years, you are questioning this man for 20 hours already and calling him tomorrow. Is this anything but harassment? And you are I'm making this charge straight away on your television. Although I'm at a remote location, I've been in touch with all the people who matter. Selectively leaking, and you are obviously not the favored channel to whom these leaks are made. But there are lots of channels to whom these leaks are being made as we speak. That Rahul Gandhi is not cooperating. Rahul Gandhi is not answering questions. What questions can you possibly answer in 20 hours?
That is sort of standard agency sort of plants that happen. But can I ask you, as a lawyer and wearing your lawyer's hat, the ED, you know, has a lot of powers. Do you fear that they would arrest him? Do you fear that they would arrest Rahul Gandhi?
First of all, the word fear does not exist in Rahul Gandhi's dictionary. To a fault, let me tell you. So if they think that they can browbeat him, pressurize him, blackmail him, they have another guest coming. So let's forget about that. Yes, you have made allies, political allies of the agencies. You rightly said they have enormous powers, but those powers are not meant to make them the political allies of the ruling government. times change, governments change. At least think of those days. Sometimes it does happen. And to misuse them, to politicize these agencies, to unleash them like this. Do you know, Nidhi, and I was privy to it.
Let me rephrase the question. Can the ED arrest him even without an FIR in this case? Can they do that?
Well, anything can happen. I have no faith in such agencies. More importantly, I have no faith in their political masters. And certainly in the case of political vendetta, anything can happen. So the word can is not a right question. But should it in the context of law? Can it in the context of law? The answer is emphatically no.
All right. Well, Abhishek Singhvi,
arrest. Let me tell you 1 minute. 1 second. Arrest is if there is something imminent, there is some flight risk, there is something happening that he will come and suborn witnesses. To talk of a case registered in the main predicate offence, remember, ED is only a consequential jurisdiction. The main original offence of CBI would be an offence of 2014-15. And for 6 years, 8 years, you have no need to do anything. And today you go and arrest him. So the answer to your question is that it will be nothing but naked political misuse of power, harassment, which is going on. The Congress party asked very respectfully for the right to walk with him in safe and secure passage 2 days and 1 day in advance. They were stopped from their AICC office from leaving. All this which you saw would not have happened.
Many of your colleagues from Parliament, even the chief ministers of Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan were also detained on this. But let's see what happens tomorrow, Abhishek Singhvi. Thank you for joining us, giving us some perspective on that big story. Rahul Gandhi summoned for the 3rd day in a row by the Enforcement Directorate tomorrow in the National Herald case.